Hello audio nerds, it's great to have you back, and today let's talk about something that on the surface at least isn't that exciting, the humble CD. Yup, CD digital audio, to give it its full name, is almost as old as me, believe it or not, developed as an alternative to vinyl records and cassette tapes and promising a combination of pristine sound quality, durability and user friendliness, all wrapped up in a compact, futuristic looking silver disc. The CD was for several decades the undisputed king of audio formats. But that was before the rise of downloadable music, which allowed users to expand their libraries with MP3 files, whether obtained legally or otherwise. Although poorer quality than CDs, most users didn't really care when it came to the convenience of loading up their iPods with thousands of songs in MP3 format. It certainly beat lugging around a ton of CDs and a CD Walkman everywhere. And in recent years, the rise of streaming services giving you all the music you could possibly ever want for the equivalent cost of buying a single CD every month. Heck, even vinyl records, the predecessor to CD, are now seen as the physical medium of choice for the discerning audio geek, with a whole bunch of record hunting hipsters pushing up the prices of even tatty old Pink Floyd records. So why do I still buy CDs then? And is it time that we had a CD revival? I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think that CDs are still worth your while. The CD digital audio standard, 16-bit PCM stereo files sampled at 44.1 kHz, was developed after years of research by really clever audio engineers in order to give the most accurate representation of the studio performance, and in my opinion it stood the test of time. Now you might want to go and watch my other video on why I think that despite the rise of formats such as high-res audio, CD quality audio is still more than enough to provide a top-class listening experience. And remember, the way the recording is mastered in the studio has a lot more to do with how the CD sounds than the sample rate. And yes, there are some truly horrible sounding CDs, such as these two. So we've got Metallica's 2009 release, Death Magnetic, and this, the Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication. Both of these sound truly horrible. They're compressed, they clip. I mean, they're almost unlistenable on good equipment. But you can't blame that on the CD format itself. It relates to very poor decisions being made in the mastering suite. However, if you load up a sublime sounding recording like the absolute audiophile classic Come Away With Me by Norah Jones, or something like In Rainbows by Radiohead, and you're indeed greeted by absolutely superb sound. Now let's not go and get into an argument about whether CD sounds better than vinyl or vice versa. It's all very subjective, of course. But for most people, I would argue that if you have mid-fi audio equipment, it's much easier to get great sound out of a CD-based system than a vinyl system. Now, does a CD sound better than the same digital file streamed from the likes of Qobuz or Tidal? Some people argue that it does, but I personally have never been able to convince myself about that. But the one thing I'd say is that the CD definitely doesn't sound any worse. If you do spin up a physical CD, it gives you a new appreciation of the album as an art form. It's so refreshing to just get lost in the artist's vision, even if it's a bleak one, such as Nine Inch Nails' depressing, depraved masterpiece, The Downward Spiral. It's so different from the track hopping that we all do when we're streaming music from online providers. Hey, if you start listening to CDs, you might even stop skipping the Ringo Starr tracks on Beatles albums. On second thoughts, no, you probably won't. Let's face it, cost is a big factor when it comes to buying music. Now, unlike in the 90s when I first started buying CDs, new CDs are now much cheaper. I think I've told you this before, but this is U2's Zooropa, the first CD I ever bought as a teenager. And at the time, it was astronomically expensive. I think it cost me £16 from Asda, believe it or not. New CDs are typically now less than £10, which admittedly still not cheap, but it's a lot more reasonable, particularly when you factor in inflation and all that. CDs are also cheaper than vinyl records, which are typically more than £20 in the UK, and they're often cheaper also than buying high-res digital files which also stretch to £15–20. But even better than buying new CDs, if your idea of a good time on a Saturday afternoon includes fishing through racks of CDs in a charity shop, albums can be had for absolutely knockdown prices. And unlike the well picked over vinyl racks, in which you're unlikely to find anything decent other than those Top of the Pops compilation albums from the 1970s, you know, the ones with the scantily clad women on the front, you're likely to find some great gems in the CD section. CDs were designed always to be durable, and in my experience they generally are, meaning you can buy second-hand with confidence. When I'm buying second-hand, I always inspect the disc in good light just to check for any obvious scratches and scuffs, and I certainly wouldn't buy a badly, obviously scratched disc. However, light scratches tend not to cause the same problems that they do in vinyl records. Remember, once you buy a CD, not only can you play it thousands of times without any deterioration in the sound quality, you can also load it into your computer in a digital format. In fact, you can convert it into any digital format of your choosing, and then you can load that digital file onto your phone, onto your DAP, or you can even upload it to your cloud server, meaning that you can enjoy your own music everywhere. You can even, if you want, carefully stow away all your CDs in the attic and never listen to the physical disc itself ever again. Although that would be a shame, wouldn't it? The point is, when you buy a CD, you're buying both the physical object as well as a digital music file, and you own both forever, which nicely brings us on to our next point. Maybe it's a Generation X thing, but I actually really like the feeling of collecting and owning music rather than just renting it, which is in effect what you do with streaming services. Now, I've been collecting CDs for, 30 years, since I was a teenager, and having a physical representation of the music I love, including all the nice extras like the booklets, etc., for me that's really important. It might not be for you. You do get these lovely CD box sets, such as these that I've got here from the likes of Kraftwerk, Nirvana, REM, and you can still get these. They're not particularly rare, you can find them quite easily, and they offer a lot of bonus content, whether it's extra tracks or artist commentaries or nice booklets of photos of the band. And yes, before the vinyl crowd starts yelling at me, the physical experience of CDs is not quite as tactile or immersive as vinyl records. But hey, you can store an awful lot more CDs in a small room than you can records. Once I've bought a CD, I can do what I want with the music, as we've already said, and even if the internet goes down, I've got years worth of music to listen to. Having a physical CD circumvents common problems which you do get if you rely purely on streaming services. One such problem is that you sometimes will find that your favourite music has suddenly disappeared from a streaming service, fairly randomly, and that's because artists and labels sometimes withdraw rights for streaming from various services, and you've got no control over that. Another problem is that you have no control over which version of a recording is available on streaming services. So, for example, you might want the original version of Kraftwerk's Man Machine, not the 2009 remaster, and that is the only version which is found on the likes of Tidal or Qobuz. If you are into slightly more niche musical genre, you might not even find the album you're after on streaming services, but a quick search on eBay or Discogs, for example, usually throws up quite a few results, and you can usually buy them at very reasonable prices, as we've already discussed. Let's face it, we're all music lovers, aren't we? And we idolise our favourite singers, bands, groups, orchestras, whatever. Let's be honest, we know in our heart of hearts that streaming services just don't pay the artists that well. Now, it's not so much of a problem for the likes of Kendrick Lamar, Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, etc., who get zillions of streams and presumably get paid quite well. But it's a big problem for some of the smaller artists. Buying music, whether it's in CD format, vinyl, or even digital, means more of your money goes towards supporting your favourite artists rather than to intermediaries such as streaming companies. This is particularly the case if you buy direct from the likes of Bandcamp, for example, where anywhere between 80 to 90% of the revenue goes straight to the artist. And why wouldn't you want to support your favourite artist to make more fantastic music? So there we go, 5 great reasons why CDs are still hugely relevant. So, all things considered, do I snub streaming services altogether and rely on CDs? Of course not. Streaming services still offer me an unparalleled selection of pretty much 90% of all music ever recorded. You do get useful features such as music discovery and social interaction, so I can share the music I love with my friends. Streaming services are of course convenient and they sound fantastic, particularly now we get lossless streaming. They also allow me to listen to new albums the moment they drop. I don't have to queue up and wait for HMV to open first thing in the morning. I can also listen and decide whether I really like an album or not, but if I do, more times than not, I will go out and buy it, sometimes on CD, sometimes on vinyl, occasionally I'll buy a digital file. So audio nerds, I advise you to embrace CDs. They are still fantastic, you can get some great bargains, and the next time you're at a loose end, just go to your nearest town centre, wander into some charity shops and start combing those racks. You will find some great stuff out there. I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. You know I always love hearing from you, and look out for more great content coming soon. We will be doing a video on CD players and how to integrate them into your hi-fi system. So if that's the kind of stuff you like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, as we approach 5,000 subscribers, 5,000, that's incredible. I'm planning to do a behind the scenes and FAQ type video. So if you've got any burning questions or anything you'd like to see about my setup, please do drop me a comment below. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.